Well, Canada and India are embroiled in an unprecedented diplomatic row. The trigger was the June killing of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar, with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau linking New Delhi to the murder on Canadian soil for no good reason. There was no proof, no arrest, just a suspicion and a possible involvement. But the allegation was very public and very unwarranted. Since then, here is what India has done. Basically, they have called out the claim as completely absurd and motivated. First, they sent back the Canadian diplomat, have given him 5 days to leave Delhi. And today came a travel advisory for Indian citizens and students, categorically saying that they should be careful about traveling to certain areas in Canada, given the growing anti-India activities there and the threats targeting Indian diplomats and politically condoned hate crimes in Canada. Now it has come to light that not only was Justin Trudeau backing the chief of the Khalistan Tiger Force, who was declared a designated terrorist by India in 2020, before going public with those allegations, Canada pushed its allies in the Five Eyes coalition to issue a joint statement condemning it. However, according to the Washington Post, practically nobody was interested in acceding to Canada's request. Even now, when persistently questioned about their stand vis-a-vis Canada, all of these allies of the country at best say it's an issue of concern and refuse to condemn India.
But with an active criminal investigation, I hope that we can make sure that perpetrators are brought to justice and that we can all allow the space for that information and that investigation to occur before anybody leaps to judgment.
Seriously, you should chill out a bit. You know, we're at a venue where Bruce Springsteen played the last time I was there, and I made the point that the reception he got from the community, which was a very broad-based community, were there, from the Indian diaspora, welcomed him very strongly. It's as simple as that. So I welcomed Prime Minister Modi to Australia, as I welcome other guests to Australia as well. I don't talk about Five Eyes intelligence at a press conference, funnily enough. That's why it's called intelligence, is because we don't speculate on what the intelligence is. So I don't intend to talk about Five Eyes intelligence here.
Well, look, these are concerning reports. And I note that investigations are still underway, but obviously these are concerning reports, and as I've said, we are monitoring these developments closely with our partners, and will continue to do so.
Even in his own country, the opposition has demanded more evidence from Justin Trudeau before they can really make up their mind about what exactly is India accused of. Daniel Bordman, Canadian journalist, is joining us live. Thanks very much, Daniel. Just trying to understand here. Today morning, Justin Trudeau said, I don't want to provoke or escalate. So what exactly does he want to do?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? What does Justin Trudeau want? What is he thinking? The answer is no one knows. No one could possibly know. None of this makes any sense. Yeah, he's walking it back. I mean, he made a rather explosive claim and then wouldn't provide evidence. I don't know what he was thinking. Do you think, it's pretty simple here. Why are you starting with a fight with a major geopolitical ally? So when you start a fight with an ally who has similar alliances to you, those allies, you see America, Australia, everywhere else, when you say, hey, this country of 1 billion people that's your only possible hedge against China, well, they're bad because they'll undermine your sovereignty. That's the claim you want to make. In order for countries that are allied with both to kind of come along with you, you're going to need some pretty strong evidence. You cannot go on the just trust me, bro. I got the evidence. I'm not going to show anyone, but India really bad. So of course the Americans and the Australians and everyone else isn't going to cut ties with India to go along with one of the political fantasies and desperate ploys of Justin Trudeau. It's just not going to happen. So if you're trying to bring someone on to explain what Justin Trudeau was thinking, it's impossible. I would posit that the man is not thinking and hasn't thought this one through in the slightest. There could be some internal plays. He's deeply unpopular. He's underwater. Him and Jagmeet's coalition is 15 points behind the Conservatives. He does have some Khalistani sympathizers within his caucus. Jagmeet Singh, we know. So could this be a sort of ideological extremist motivation coming through the left ranks in Canada? Maybe. Could this just be Justin Trudeau being a bitter person that he was embarrassed in India? Maybe. Could this just be really, really bad intelligence where some random RCMP officer fell for a Khalistani conspiracy theory, which many Khalistanis still think the Air India bombing was done by the Indian government here? So did they fall for a bad report and then, pluck that above the rest and start a fight? All of this makes no sense. Justin Trudeau ignored foreign interference reports on China for months. We had evidence that a Chinese diplomat was actively threatening the family of a sitting MP who was tough on China. And when the evidence came out, it took him over a week to get rid of this guy, and he was only kicked out of the country because the pressure from the citizens on social media was so heavy that he was forced to get rid of a hostile foreign actor. So now he's come back a few months later saying, I have this top secret one report where maybe there's a potential link to the Indian government in a situation where a guy who is a Khalistani leader, India says he's a terrorist, we say he's just a nice guy who grabs AK-47s and shoots them off talking about ethnic violence sometimes. There's no way to explain Canada's actions.
So here's the thing, because I'm genuinely curious about how people in Canada are receiving this, how they are responding. Now, one would have thought that he would go public in the House of Commons, hoping to force the hand of countries like the United States, the UK, Australia, etc. Now it turns out, from what Washington Post has published, that he had already asked them, and they had said thanks but no thanks. Then what was the point of again coming out in the House of Commons and making the same charges which people have rebuffed?
I honestly can't. This goes against every foreign policy 101 book there is. There is no way to, again, as I said, if you try and think and understand Justin Trudeau's motivations here, you're going to go insane. You're going to go insane. There is no understanding this. You just kind of have, my advice to Indians is just treat this like a TV show. Canada's just a TV show and Justin Trudeau's just a character and he's getting on TV and he's saying things and listen, if the rest of the world isn't taking it seriously, you don't need to take it seriously. I have to take it seriously because I have to deal with it. But if he's getting on TV making wild, again, he's walked it back. He's fallen flat on his face. We have no leverage whatsoever in the international community to win this geopolitical battle. Justin Trudeau's lost a geopolitical battle to the Philippines years ago. So what does he think he can do to India is beyond me. The only explanation that is somewhat plausible is deep level Khalistani infiltration into the caucus that is driving some of these wacky decision making. But you're right. He knew he wasn't going to get support from the international community. No one with half a brain would think that anyone would back Canada without evidence on this. And he still went ahead with it anyway. And this is sort of your classic Justin Trudeau, where I'm ideologically motivated to the max. I'm not going to think this one through. I'm morally pure. So we're just going full steam ahead without thinking about the consequences. And, he'll be out of power in 2025 and the rest of Canada will have to deal with the fallout. But
the very real fallout that has happened for Canada is that the trade deal is on the back burner. How are Canadians reacting to that?
Listen, they're not happy, but also Canadian media is very government controlled. It's all funded by the government. Every mainstream newspaper or TV station in Canada is either the CBC, the actual government, or their primary funding is the Liberal government of Canada now. And also online news has been shut down through Facebook and Google, another fight Trudeau started. So the narrative that Canadians get on this is very curated by the Liberal Party insiders, let's say. So if you go on the CBC, you go on Global News, you're not getting any in-depth analysis going on, barely any mention of Khalistani infiltration or whatever. It's just sort of very surface level, like, okay, there's a trade deal, this is gone. And Canadians want to be friendly with the world. Canadians love being internationally loved. Canadians want to go to India and be like, I'm Canadian, and have everyone be like, oh, thank God, not American. Canadians love this. Canadians love the world and seeing this, but Canadians don't have a great understanding of the world. And if you want to understand India, you can't just look at India as a hegemony of, oh, they're brown and we're white, right? Because India breaks down by all these different cultures and provinces and languages. And New Delhi is very different than the Punjab region. But this doesn't really get to Canada. So the understanding of India and Canada is very, very surface level, I'd say. And the understanding of this conflict is even more surface level and intentionally not deep within, let's say, mainstream conversations. So the understanding you're going to get from the average Canadian would be either slightly warped or highly ignorant. It would be the majority of views on this particular issue, because it's just not something we like to talk about in Canada. We like to pretend that America is this crazy older brother we have below us, and we're the calm, reasonable ones who gets along with everyone. And when controversies happen or Khalistanis are running amok, we like to our heads, dig a hole and put our head in the sand and just hope it goes away. And surprise, surprise, after ignoring Khalistani extremism since 1985 and allowing it to grow, it did not go away, and it in fact got worse. And now we're dealing with the consequences of that. So self-inflicted wound here from Canada.
Well, for any Canadian who wants to understand Indian politics, Indian culture, they're more than welcome to watch our links on YouTube and on Twitter. In the meantime, thanks very much, Daniel Bordman. It's been fascinating. Essentially, we are none the wiser about the motivation of Justin Trudeau at the end of this entire chat. Let's hope some wisdom will dawn on us sooner rather than later.
Ball, throw a dart at a board. This is a better way of trying to understand Trudeau than bringing on anyone in a fancy suit. You can take a bird stomach, put in some sheepskin like the Mongols did, roll it out there, and then that should decide your next action in Canada, because that's basically what we're doing. So, guys, turn your brains off when it comes to Canada. You'll feel a lot better.
Unfortunately for us, though, the Khalistani threat is all too real for us and too serious for it to be laughed off. Thanks very much, Daniel Bordman. Appreciate you taking out time. Thanks for watching.